Hi everyone, and yep, another defeat. If you ever wonder why you can't always win in Kingdom of Pixels, this video is for you. I'm going to walk you through the complete skill you need to actually progress, from core mechanics that beginner miss to intermediate strategy that decide the match. If you had experience on the game before, feel free to jump ahead to the intermediate section. Otherwise, let's start from the ground up. Now we're getting through the beginner sections. I recommend you don't skip any of these skills if this is your first time playing Kingdom of Pixels. Let's get into it. The first skill is getting familiar with your character. At a minimum, you should be able to move and attack without thinking. If you can't do that yet, slow down, you're skipping a step. For example, ROK is a dash, and is L throw a bomb. But do you know that using an ability charges bullets, and the bombs explode when you shoot? The habit of not reading heroes carefully sticks, and it hurts later. Pick one hero, learn the skills, practice until it feels automatic, and move on. Stats don't make you strong. They tell you when you're allowed to fight. Every bad fight usually breaks one of 3 rules. Rule 1 broken, you're too squishy. Low HP or defense mean you're not allowed to stay. Rule 2 broken, you're too slow or deal too little damage. If you can't chain the fight fast enough, you lose the trade. Rule 3 broken, your timing is wrong. Your skills are on cooldown and you're fighting anyway. Here's the habit that fixes this. Before a fight, do a quick check. If even one rule is broken, don't fight. Back off, reset. And if a fight starts going wrong, ask one question. Which rule just broke? That tells you whether to disengage, wait, or avoid this fight next time. Before you play a hero, always know this. What kind of fight does this hero want, and which fights should they avoid? Last hitting isn't about numbers, it's about timing under constraint. Every minion opens a short window where it's free. If you hit too early, you miss. If you hit too late, you miss. But if you step up when it isn't safe, you lose more than gold. So before you hit, ask one thing. Is this minion free? If yes, take it. If not, let it go. Information creates strategies, uncertainty creates mistakes, vision decides which one you're playing. Vision answers only 3 questions: who is where, who is moving, and who is missing. Without vision, you don't make risky plays, you make blind ones. The enemy isn't guessing, they're acting on information you don't have. Wards don't make you safe, they make certain strategies illegal for your opponents. That's why it is a good idea to check the minimap. When you first start, try to look at it every 7 seconds. Then you can try harder with 3 to 4 seconds. So intermediate skills requires tons of drill practice to master it, and will dramatically change your game results, so you should pay attention to those skills. Objectives decide when the game changes. Kills feel powerful, but they don't reshape the map. Objectives do. Towers, buff rune, gold rune, these aren't reward, they are levers. When you take one, the rules change. Buff rune force a decision. Towers remove safety. Good players don't fight because they see the enemies. They fight because something is about to spawn. If nothing is spawning, most fights are ego. If an objective is spawning, the fight has a reason. Objective control means setting up the map so the enemy can't say no. Wrong timing, you give. Wrong position, you lose vision. Wrong decision, the game accelerates without you. The goal isn't to take objectives after winning fights. The goal is to create fights that enemy can't afford to lose. That's objective control. Most people think combos are about dealing more damage. That's only part of the truth. A combo is about dealing damage before the enemy can respond. In Kingdom of Pixels, every hero has small windows where the enemy is locked. By hit stun, knockback, or animation delay, combos exist to exploit that window. If you attack randomly, the enemy can jump, block, or counter. If you combo correctly, they don't get that chance. Here's the rule. Damage over time can be avoided. Damage compressed into a window cannot. That's why combos matter. A simple example. Basic attack to confirm the hit. Skill to extend the stun. Ultimate only if the enemy is already trapped. Not because it looks cool, because the game engine won't let them escape. Good combos don't start with buttons, they start with a condition. Is the enemy locked? Can they move? Can they fight back? If the answer is no, you combo. If the answer is yes, you wait. Combos aren't about pressing faster, they're about choosing the moment where resistance is impossible. In game, body language is movement. The way you move shows your intention. For example, if you walk straight at someone, you're saying, I want to fight. If you hover back and forth, you're saying, I'm waiting. The main tool for this is artwork. It lets you attack without locking your intention. Good players don't dodge skills, they dodge intentions. That's why predictable movement gets punished. In this example, I try to bait Bell's ability by fake moving forward. If you always move forward before attacking, you're readable. If you sometimes fake forward movement, you force mistakes. And this works both ways. Read their movement, not just their cooldowns. Outplay isn't about dodging damage. It's about preventing that window from open. Most combos start with a trigger, a stun, a knockup, a confirmed hit. If that first hit misses, the combo doesn't exist. That's why movement matters, because before skills are cast, not after. If the combo does start, your goal isn't to tank it, your goal is to escape the lock. A dash, a jump, knockback, or even spacing can end the window early. Once control is gone, the rest of the combo falls apart, and sometimes the best outplay is refusing the fight entirely. If you know the enemy wants a specific setup, don't give them the situation. No proximity means no combos. Player don't ask, can I survive this combo? They ask, why am I even in range of it? Outplay starts before the first button is pressed. Most players treat itemization as memorization. Build this item on this hero and hope it works. That's why it feels confusing. Itemization is about buying damage. It's about fixing a problem before it costs you the game. Every item answers one question. What is stopping me from playing my role right now? If you die before using your skills, you don't need damage, you need time. If you survive but can't reach the enemy, you don't need more stats, you need access. If fights last too long, you don't need burst, you need consistency. Items don't make you strong, they make certain plays possible. That's why copying builds fails. The moment the problem changes, the build should change too. Good itemization isn't about knowing items. It's about noticing what went wrong and correcting it faster than the enemy. Not every problem needs an item. Sometimes the solution is time. Levels give free power, stats, stronger skills, and new tools. That power arrives automatically, if you stay alive. If you're low HP but close to leveling, recalling might be worse than waiting. The level up heals you, upgrades your kit, and changes the fight. That's why some fights feel impossible one moment and easy 10 seconds later. Nothing changed except the rule. Using level power means knowing when not to fight yet and when to fight immediately before the enemies catch up. Good players don't fix every weakness with gold. They wait for power spikes and spend them decisively. Welcome to the advanced territory. Advanced skills are not that advanced at all. They actually require the skills I've talked about to put it into practice. Don't worry, you will get to this level once you're decent in the game. A win condition is the single plan that actually wins the game. Not get kills, not play safe. One plan. Look at your team and the enemy. Ask, what domino can we topple? Can we force a 1 vs 2 tower trade by split pushing? Can we bait their skills and win the gold rune fight? Or do we simply wait until our hero hits level 6 then force a base race? Pick that domino and make every action support it. If the plan is split push, don't take random fights. If it's pick, don't sign without vision. A game with a clear win condition is one where teammates pull in the same direction. A game without one is chaos. If you can't explain the win condition quickly, the simplest fix is to ask your team aloud, what's our win condition? That question alone often creates one. Draft pick decides what kind of game you're about to play. You're not choosing heroes, you're choosing which strategies are possible and which aren't. A good draft has a clear win condition. It's know how the game's supposed to end. A bad draft hopes something works out. During draft, ask 2 questions. How do we win? And how does the enemy want to win? You don't need to counter everything. You only need to break their easiest plan. If they want to teamfight, deny engage. If they want to scale, pressure early. If they want picks, remove vision and safety. Draft creates pressure before the game even starts. Once the match begins, you're just executing what draft allowed. If the game feels hard from minute 1, check the draft. You might be playing inside a losing rules set. Wave management decides where the game is allowed to happen. Minions aren't just gold, they're pressure, safety and time. When you freeze a wave, you're denying resources and forcing the enemy to step into danger. When you slow push, you're building a future problem they'll have to answer. When you fast push, you're resetting the game and taking tempo. These aren't farming techniques, they're ways to control your opponent's choices. Most deaths don't start in fights, they start when a wave is managed poorly 30 seconds earlier. Before touching a wave, ask one question. What do I want the enemy to be forced to do next? If you can answer that, wave management stops being confusing and starts winning games for you. To be honest, gaming is one of the most underrated subjects in the history. Because it's not like when people say it's easy, just click some buttons. Gaming actually requires learning skills like planning, focusing, retention, and most of all, it also requires a growth mindset. You need to check the tab screen, check the minimap, check the wave state, check the enemy cooldowns. There's so many things in this game that to be a good player, you can't just grind games all days. At the end of the day, playing games is more like a test to see how fast you can adapt to the game and continuously learning.